So, hi guys, welcome back to Overtime Heroics MMA. We're joined today by one championships atomweight kickboxing champion, Janet Todd. How you doing, Janet?
I'm doing good, thank you.
How's your day been? Just to start off with that.
Well, it's 8 o'clock here, so it just started.
Fair enough. I was thinking of Scottish time there because as we were talking about off air, it's 4 p.m. here. So just to kick off, I like to start every interview kind of the same way, just to get the background into a person. So what was it that first drew you to martial arts?
It was during college. I needed some sort of physical activity to do, and my friend was taking a boxing class at the time at the nearby cardio kickboxing gym. So that's where I actually started.
And then it's just grew arms and legs and spiraled for there.
Yeah. Just it was something that I really enjoyed doing. So my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, he took me to a Muay Thai gym. And yeah, it just took off from there.
Because how long were you doing Muay Thai before you thought to yourself, I could really do this as a career?
Sorry, so how long have I been doing Muay Thai before I started?
Sorry, I'll reword the question. Sometimes I forget how fast I speak, so I'll try and slow it down. So how long were you doing Muay Thai originally before you realised that you could really do this as a career?
Oh, how long have I been doing it before? I'm just gonna give you times, and you can do the math.
Yeah, that's right.
It was around 2015 when I went to the IFMA World Games in Thailand. Is when I really thought I can really compete and take this more seriously and go down the professional route. When I had when I did the first tournament there, I got to see some really high level fighters training at Sanctianois. Saw these boys training really hard and really inspired me. And even at the World Games, seeing some of it's called like the International Federation Muay Thai Amateurs, but they have like high level amateurs and even professionals fighting. So, watching those fights, just being able to see that and being able to see how beautifully it can be done, really did inspire me to kind of go after it myself.
I was trying to do the math there in my head. You had your first amateur fight in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So that's around about 6 years, 7 years. So that's that's a good length of time. So since the rise of one championship, especially in the United States this year, when they've started to sign the likes of Demetrius Johnston, Eddie Alvarez, Sage Northcott, they've got like the likes of yourself. Have you noticed like a momentum swing in and around kickboxing in the US?
It's hard to say because we're finally starting to open up around here.
Yeah.
Especially in California. Other states have started opening up a little bit better, but it's a little bit hard to say because of a lot of the restrictions we've had on sporting events. So I can't tell because I haven't, I've been in my bubble. Let's just say.
But even like the likes of online, have you noticed you're starting to get more traction from the fans? More people are starting to talk kickboxing and watch kickboxing?
I think I surround myself with people that watch kickboxing and Muay
Yeah,
Thai. So
that's
I feel
that's a
like
really
I
good
always
point.
talk about it.
Yeah.
No, but I like what One Championship is doing and trying to get like more of an American or I say like the Western Hemisphere, um, Canada, the U.S. and Southern America, like getting those those uh, those people interested in One Championship through TNT, and I think I personally love One Championship. I love what they stand for. So, I hope the Western fans can catch on to and see the sort of athletes that we have on the roster.
and and as someone that lives in the West as well, I can safely say that I think that's happening. Like, like I'm just talking from like a fan's perspective. A year, 2 years ago, you didn't really hear many people talking about One Championship, whereas now I feel far more people, especially in my circle, are starting to watch One Championship and start to appreciate One Championship. I think that might be as well because I don't know if it's the same in the US, but in the UK, One Championship is free to watch, so we can watch
Mm-hmm.
it on YouTube sort of thing, and it's a live stream on YouTube, and then you can go back and watch it anytime. So I feel that that's been really pivotal with pulling fans in because they don't need to pay subscriptions to watch it.
That's really true. That's one aspect I didn't really think about, but yeah, I mean, with the other promotions, they expect you to pay $20 to $50 or I think 100 sometimes to stream fights. So yeah, to be able to get these high level matchups in kickboxing and Muay Thai and be able to watch it for free is it's pretty incredible too.
Yeah, but you get to watch like some of the best Muay Thai fighters in the world for free. Uh,
Yeah.
as a fan, that's just amazing. And I've seen as well that One Championship they're starting to want to like get involved in the European market a lot more and start to put fights on actually in Europe, and that could be huge.
Yeah, I mean that'd be cool. I haven't been to many countries in Europe.
You could
I'm also
hopefully
hoping that they start some shows out here too.
you could hopefully be fighting in Scotland one day. Get to
Yeah,
see
that'd be cool.
you. So see since winning the One Championship atomweight belt, have you noticed any changes in your life, but just in terms of recognition?
Uh, well, I think I also got the belt right when COVID hit too.
Yeah,
So, I don't know. I don't. That moment was amazing for me. It was a dream come true for me, but it hasn't really changed the way I do anything in life, I guess. I'm still training hard, and I don't know if I get. I definitely have received more fans after it, I
yeah,
think, and throughout the last couple fights as well. But yeah, I still want to stay at the top, so I got to keep training hard. And there's, more people that got signed to One Championship and more up and coming fighters that I have to, defend my title against. So it's not really, just because I got the belt doesn't mean I stop or, I change things around. I keep training hard and keep getting better, and that's generally have been consistent with my focus and even since I've got the belt, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. That does make sense. And see to keep yourself focused, do you like create or set what new goals in your head? Because obviously, when you first started kickboxing, everyone's goal is to be a world champion. Now you've accomplished that. Have you set other goals that you don't need to disclose any of these goals or anything? This is just me asking if there is any other goals that you've set for yourself.
I mean, aside from, yes, I want the kickboxing and Muay Thai belt. There's always like little goals in terms of technique, what sort of technique I want to implement next, or what sort of combination I'm working on that I want to, land in sparring or land in a fight. Like I have those little goals always in training. It's not like I'm mindlessly going in there. Like whether it's like, all right, well, I want to work on, moving out to my right side, making angles that way after a combination, or okay, I really want to focus on catching teeps today. Stuff like that. I set myself like mini goals, I guess you can say, so that I can continue to expand my skills.
Are you doing that professionally as well? Like more things that you want to accomplish in the sport?
Are you talking about like a Muay Thai belt or?
Yeah, like just now you have like the kickboxing belt at atom weight. Would you want to maybe go up a weight? Would you want to maybe defend your belt so many times? Would you want to go for the Muay Thai belt?
My goal has been to, attain both the kickboxing and Muay Thai belt.
Yeah.
Stamp showed us it was possible. So, that's definitely what I want to do as well.
Yeah. Because this might seem a wee bit more personal sort of thing rather than kind of professional. But is it like you may already be aware of this, as a woman, like sometimes the idea of like stepping into a martial arts gym can be quite daunting, just because some of the misconceptions that are there around about martial arts gym. So what words of advice would you say to women across the world who are looking to take up martial arts?
I think I was fortunate in this area because I found a gym that was appropriate for me. I found some family run gyms that were, catered to families, that made me feel like it was a safe space for me. And, when I did train, I'm not a natural at this. I don't think I was even able to move a bag when I kicked the first time. I think it just kind of made slapping noises. So, my recommendation for anybody starting out is, find a gym that's appropriate for you, that you feel comfortable in, and, find a group of training partners that, they essentially become one of your closest friends because you spend so much time with them. But, find that group that you like training with, and, it kind of encourages you throughout your your training session to train harder, or encourage each other to even get better technically as well. So even if things feel really hard, it's gonna feel really hard for a while, but I promise it'll get easier. So just stick with it if you like it.
Because you said something there that I think could be really inspiring, but I don't know if you meant it the way I picked it up. But it was just when you said that you weren't a natural at this. So for someone who is one of the best women kickboxers, Muay Thai fighters on the world, saying that they weren't a natural at this, I think that could be a huge motivation for anyone starting out, just to kind of hear that from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, you have no idea. Sometimes I would just shadow box the same thing over and over and over and over again before I even hit a bag. And it was something P2 from Santino. He had me do that as well. There were times when he would just, I don't think I hit a bag once for like an hour and a half. He would just have me shadow box combinations up and down the mat. But I think I know those drills might sound really boring, but it really gets me feeling the motion, and feel, kind of figure out what feels right in terms of how I, move my body mechanically. So then it can translate to the bag without having that impact from the bag affect your, rotation. I don't know if what I'm saying kind of makes sense, but
No.
I think having those what people might typically call like boring, boring repetition is a chance for you to really ingrain it in your body and in your mind how the movement should really feel.
That makes a lot of sense as well, because I feel a lot of the times when when you start hitting the bag too early, you can maybe develop bad habits, sort of thing, just from hitting the bag. And a lot of fighting comes down. Well, I feel a lot of it might come down to the muscle memory. But see when everything needs to be like split second, and you don't have time to think. But when you're on the bag, you've got time to think, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Whereas a lot of the time in fighting, you need to just go off not emotion, sorry, that's like one of the worst things you can do. You need to go off what feeling, like kind of what feels right, kind of what you can do here and there. So I think what you're saying there, that'll ingrain it in your muscle memory, and that's probably is one of the best ways to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that works for me. I know
Yeah,
everybody has a different way of learning, but that's just that's just me.
and it's good as well, because when you're saying things, people will listen, because you're obviously a world champion, so it's proof that it works. Even if it's just for you, it proves that there's method in everything that you do.
Yeah, I mean, if it benefits others, yeah, great. I, you know, first and foremost, you always have to listen to your coach.
Yeah.
Your coach always knows you best, and so whatever they say goes. But if there's certain things that I say that kind of resonates within somebody, great.
So, like, since joining one championship, excluding COVID and coronavirus times, you've been extremely active. So, what is it you're doing, or what aren't you doing in training that allows you to fight so consistently?
That allows me to fight more consistently. You know, even before joining one championship, I always wanted, always like to fight consistently. It's about gaining that experience, seeing, those different fighting styles, and learning how to adapt on the fly. I don't know what I'm doing in training or not doing in training to allow me to fight consistently. um, but I guess we're training in a way where we're not getting ourselves injured, is I think one of the, is a factor. And yeah, and recovery is still something I'm, still working on, because it's not, I really don't have time with work and training to do as much recovery as I'd like. But building in that recovery on Sundays, whether it's getting body work or doing some sort of like breath work, is really important. I don't know, I feel like I'm just blabbing. I don't really have golden nuggets here. I think I just have the willpower to want to compete more consistently, and one championship gave me that opportunity, so I'm just thankful for that. But yeah, I think one thing that people kind of lack sometimes is the recovery portion. We put our bodies through so much during training, and we're so focused on working our body hard, we don't think about the recovery aspect of it. At least I don't, and that's just as important. Whether it's taking 10 minutes, before you go to sleep, and meditating, or on the weekend making sure that you're getting your massage or doing some sort of like body treatment, is I think really important to keep your body consistently going.
That's us golden nuggets. This is great advice, especially for people just starting out, because I feel like I can just go off my own experiences as well. But see, when you first start, all you want to do is train all the time. You're constantly wanting to get better. You're constantly wanting to push your body, and you don't really think about the recovery. So people listening to this and hearing yourself talking about recovery, that might be just the triggers that really helps them improve their game. So I think everything you said there was hugely valuable, especially about training. But you're not trying to kill each other in training. You're just, especially sparring, you're there to just sharpen the knives. You're not there to blunt them by smashing each other.
Yeah, that's one thing we do. We do a lot of like drilling that allows for some of our creativity to come in sparring. We're not, yeah, like you said, we're not trying to kill each other. We're trying to work on our timing, and we're trying to build our fight IQ rather than, and rather than being like the Hulk and just smash through people. So yeah, that's definitely a huge part of it, and why we don't have as much like injuries going in is because we're not trying to, we'll smash pads, but we won't we won't smash each other during sparring.
So just kind of the last question today, Janet, before I let you get going, because I know you're busy and need to get back to your day. So this is something as like a fan I'm asking here. So explain to me, like, how easy or how hard is it to acclimatise to one's smaller gloves when doing kickboxing and Muay Thai?
Oh yeah, that was interesting. I actually really enjoy it, because I could really feel my punches now. Not that I wasn't feeling them before in the gloves, but you can really tell when you hit with the first two knuckles or not. What's really different is how you defend. You don't have, it's less forgiving with the 4-ounce gloves. You don't have like big pads. Even if you're covering here with like or I think with boxing gloves, we tend to come out here to block, and we have like the extra padding to actually cover half our face, even if our hand's here. But with the 4-ounce gloves, if you cover here, you're only covering here. So things down the middle can hit you really easily. So it's like learning to really see where the strikes are coming and bringing your hand up where you need to, or more. We ended up working a lot more head movement after my first fight to kind of improve my defense as well, because it's sometimes, no, not sometimes, it's better to not get hit with those things than to try to block them sometimes. So we really worked on defense and head movement when we started working with the smaller gloves.
Yeah, because as someone who's like yourself, who their whole kind of career has been with the big gloves, it must have just been so alien. Like, see, when you're used to like the big thick gloves, and you're coming in and you get the wee ones, it must, even just like holding your hands up, it must feel different because it's not as heavy.
Oh yeah, that part's awesome. It feels like, the part that sucks is when you get hit with them. I remember, going into it, we practice with like, those sparring MMA gloves. They're a little bit thicker, and it's not like we were sparring hard with them, so I never really got hit hard with it. So when I went into the ring and got hit for the first time with MMA gloves, I remember it was like when Stamp caught my right kick and then just planted like her right hand on my face. I was like, ooh, okay, that kind of hurt. That's what it feels like. So yeah, getting hit with it sucks, but man, when you get to hit with them, I think it makes up for it.
Do you feel that that's something that's going to catch on to the rest of the kickboxing and Muay Thai world? Because I'm just speaking as a fan here, and I think it's amazing. Let's see, just seeing the technique with those small gloves as well. There's something just so alluring about it, and something so like it feels so much better to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be smart with your defense and obviously with your offense, because it creates holes when you strike as well. So I think people fight a lot smarter with the smaller gloves than they do with the standard boxing gloves. And I think, especially out in the Western Hemisphere where, UFC is more popular with
Yeah.
like MMA, I think those casual fans would end up like would end up watching Muay Thai at one championship more because they're familiar with those MMA gloves. And I think people like watching the stand-up portion anyway, or
Yeah,
maybe that's just my bias. So yeah, I'm hoping it'll catch on.
because it's funny that you say that because everyone that I speak to, especially when they're talking about MMA, they all love the stand-up part of MMA. They all think that's amazing, but kickboxing isn't huge over here, especially in the UK. Which I just feel that's because everyone loves they love like a Conor McGregor, they love a Francis Ngannou, like someone like that. They love the big strikers, but kickboxing isn't huge in the UK, and it just blows my brain a wee bit.
Yeah, it has to be, maybe it's the MMA gloves. Like there's more excitement and more, I'd say more knockouts with the little gloves versus
Yeah.
the big ones. So I think that's what pulls people in.
But Janet, thank you very much for your time today. It's been really appreciated. Do you have any social medias that you want to shout out where our viewers at home can keep up to date with what you're doing, keep up to date with fight updates, etc.?
Yeah, I'm not as great with my Instagram, but I do have an Instagram. There's times when I kind of go on a social media strike and not log in for a couple weeks, but then leading up to a fight, I'll post like training clips and such, so you can always follow me on Instagram.